Hello students, today we are going to discuss about ICSE Class 7 Chapter 4 Structure of an Atom. Have you ever wondered why each element shows different characteristic properties? For example, sodium is very soft metal and can be cut with knife, whereas diamond is the hardest known substance. Sodium metal can be cut with knife. Diamond is the hardest mineral, very tough to break. Reason: different elements are made up of different types of atoms, and their characteristic properties are dependent upon the arrangements of these atoms. So, in order to understand the properties of elements, you need to know the arrangements of these atoms as well as the structure of an atom. Let us study of historical perspectives of atom one by one. First, we discuss about Maharishi Kanath. Maharishi Kanath is the propounder of atomic theory, ancient Indian philosopher who famously known as Acharya Kanath knew atomic theory 2500 years before to John Dalton. John Dalton was the one who first proposed theory about atom. You will be very surprising to know the concepts of atomic theory actually formulated by Indian sage and philosopher Maharishi Kanath nearly 600 years prior to Jesus Christ, 2500 years before to John Dalton. Maharishi Kanath suggested that everything can be subdivided, but the subdivisions cannot go on forever and there must be a smallest entities that cannot be divided. He conceptualized the idea that matter consists of indivisible units and cannot be further divided into small particles. Maharishi Kanath, who is the propounder of atomic theory, said that matter is made up of small particle called anu. Next, Greek philosopher Democritus. He was the first person to use the term atom, which comes from Greek word atomos, which means indivisible. He thought that if you take piece of paper of matter and divide it, you will eventually come to a point where you could not divide it anymore. Next, John Dalton. The first theory about atom is given by scientist named called John Dalton. He said, atom is a solid hard sphere. It is neutral. He gave some other points about atom. According to John Dalton, all matter is made up of tiny particles called atom, like wall is made up of small bricks. Similarly, all forms of matter made up of tiny particle called atom. Next point, atom of the same element are identical to each other, while atoms of different elements differ in mass and chemical properties. Compounds are formed when atoms of different elements combine in fixed proportion. Example, you take cricket team. Fixed numbers of players has to play a match. Same way, atoms of different elements combine in fixed proportion. Example, you take water molecule. Two atoms of hydrogen has to combine with one atom of oxygen in order to form water molecule. So always they follow a fixed proportion. Atoms of different elements combine in fixed proportion. According to John Dalton, Democritus, Maharishi Kanath, atom is an indivisible particle. But later, experiments performed by other scientists like J.J. Thomson, Max Planck and Rutherford showed that atoms contain particles that are known as fundamental particles or subatomic particles. The atom consists of three subatomic particles, namely electrons, protons and neutrons. Particle electron, charge of the particle -1. Electrons are negatively charged particles. They carry 1 unit of negative charge. and have negligible mass. An electron has mass almost 1 by 1837 times of a hydrogen atom. Symbol of electron, it is denoted by the letter E and has superscript 0, subscript -1. Always they used to mention mass of the particle in the superscript. Mass of the electron is 0. Charge of the particle in the subscript. Charge of the electron is -1. And it is discovered by J.J. Thomson. Proton. Charge of the proton +1. Mass of the proton 1.008 AMU. So this is the unit of atomic mass. Protons are positively charged particles. They carry 1 unit positive charge. It has mass almost same as that of hydrogen atom. So proton is 1840 times heavier than the electron. This is the symbol of proton. Mass of the proton is 1. Charge of the proton is +1 and it is denoted by the letter P. Next, neutron. Charge of the neutron 0. Mass of the neutron 1.008 AMU. Symbol of the neutron 0 and 1 and it is discovered by Chadwick. Neutrons are electrically neutral. They do not carry any charge. The mass of the neutron is equal to the mass of the proton. The electrical nature of matter has been known from ancient times. For example, it was known that glass rod or ebonite, when rubbed with silk or fur, generate electricity. In the year 1833, Michael Faraday gave the first important clue about the electrical nature of matter. Faraday showed that the flow of electricity is due to the flow of charged particle. G.G. Stoney first suggested the name electron for this electrical particle. As century progressed, J.J. Thomson and other scientists, they wanted to know properties and structure of an atom. They were carrying lot of experiments. J.J. Thomson carried out an experiment in a discharge tube and he discovered electrons. Electrons are negatively charged particles. After J.J. Thomson discovered electron, Goldstein got an idea. If atom contains negatively charged particle, there should be possibility of existing positively charged particle also. Why? Because atom is electrically neutral. So he started his research work and he modified J.J. Thomson experiment and he discovered protons. After Goldstein discovered protons, J.J. Thomson he proposed model of an atom. This was known as plum pudding model. J.J. Thomson model of the atom was known as the plum pudding model. He believed the electrons were spread out evenly among the positive particles of the atom. His model is like the seeds in a watermelon, where the seeds would be like the electron. So this is the atomic model, Thomson atomic model. It looks like a watermelon. Negatively charged particles embedded on the positively charged sphere. J.J. Thomson proposed that an atom was solid sphere of positively charged material and the negatively charged particles, electrons, were embedded in it like a seeds in a watermelon. The radiable part of the watermelon is compared to the positive charge in the atom. Later, Rutherford he found some drawbacks in the Thomson atomic model and he proposed a model called Rutherford's model of an atom. According to Rutherford, atoms have nucleus present at the center or core. Atom consists of electrons moving around the nucleus. So protons and neutrons present at the center, which is collectively known as nucleons. The space occupied by this nucleons is called nucleus, which is present at the center of the atom. Electrons revolve around this nucleus in a circular path. The circular path is called as orbits or shells. So atoms have a nucleus present at the center of the core. Nucleus contains protons and neutrons. Atom consists of electrons moving around the nucleus. Electrons, negatively charged particles, revolve around the nucleus in a circular path. Electrons revolve around the nucleus in a circular path. The circular parts of the electrons are called shells or orbits. The nucleus consists of two kinds of particles, protons and neutrons. You people know protons carries positive charge, neutrons are neutral. So, charge of the nucleus depends on the numbers of protons present in the nucleus, but mass of the nucleus depends on protons as well as the neutron. Protons and neutrons collectively known as nucleons. Any nucleus with one proton has charge of 1 and a nucleus with the 2 proton has charge of +2. Because protons are positively charged particles and the charge of the nucleus depends on the charge of the proton. Together, neutrons and protons give the nucleus its mass. Protons and neutrons collectively known as nucleons. This is very important term, nucleons. Protons and neutrons collectively known as nucleons. Rutherford had given a structure of an atom known as Rutherford model of an atom, in which he explained that most of the atom is empty. Entire mass and positive charge is concentrated at the center of the atom. So you people know mass of the electron is 0, mass of the proton is 1, mass of the neutron is 1. Proton carries positive charge. So entire mass and positive charge is concentrated in the center of the atom, known nucleus. When electrons revolve around the nucleus in a circular path, it constitutes atoms. One of his students was Niels Bohr, who was extremely interested to study the structure of an atom, but later on, when he saw Rutherford model, he was not convinced. According to law of physics, if charged particle, any charged body in motion, radiate energy. So if electron, which is negatively charged particle, it is moving around the nucleus, it continuously loses energy. It moves closer and closer to the nucleus and hence it should collide with the nucleus. So Rutherford model enabled to explain the stability of an atom, but he appreciated his student and he motivated the student to work on the structure of atom. Then Niels Bohr started his research work on the structure of atom and he proposed one model known as Niels Bohr atomic model. According to Bohr's model, electrons revolve around the nucleus in definite orbits. If it revolves in these definite orbits, they do not emit energy. Only particular orbits are paths in which electrons revolve. So, this is the structure of an atom. So, according to Niels Bohr, electrons revolve around the nucleus in a fixed energy levels called shells. Thank you so much, students. Subscribe my channel for more videos.